Hey, welcome back to another episode of Heavy Rotation. In the studio tonight, we have the fellows from Attaxe. Thank you for being here, guys.
You're welcome.
You're
Hi.
welcome.
Hi, nice to be here.
It's very nice to have you guys here. So, I wanted to go ahead and get right into things. I know you guys just played Dog Rock, and
Awesome event. So that's a great event.
it was, man, and cheers to Nick for putting that on. What else is going on currently for you guys?
Right now, like we were just, this past year in Germany and performed there at the Full Metal Attaxe Festival. Which is great. We love Germany, love to go to Europe, and been doing a lot of shows. And our album came out on Golden Core Records on the past year, and and since that time, we now have our newest guitar player. Drew is no longer the new guy. He used to call him the new guy, and Ray's the original member here, and me, Juan. But Jimmy here is the newest member. Look at him. Beautiful.
Blushing.
What a beauty he is. And he's the newest guitar player, and he's just phenomenal. And we're busy writing brand new music, and so we've already started to perform it. We did a couple songs at Dog Rock, and we'll keep writing new music with Jimmy and get a new album out as soon as possible. Hopefully by next year, early next year. So.
Hey, right on. So, I guess I got ahead of ourselves a little bit. Just for anyone that's not familiar with the band, I wanted to go ahead and we'll just introduce everybody. So yes, Juan on vocals.
Hello.
Juan Ricardo.
Yeah.
And we've got Drew. How do you pronounce your last name?
Sodi.
Drew Sodi on drums.
Yep.
Then right next to you, we got Ray Hitchcock on the bass.
Yep.
And then we've got, as it was discussed, Mr. Jimmy, is it Zyga?
Zigga.
Zigga, figures out to mess it up. Jimmy Zigga on guitar. So as you had said, you guys are working on new music. You've been doing some gigs. Are there any other gigs that are scheduled at the moment?
At the moment, if something comes up that we'd like to play, we'll come up. But right now, we're getting to the work of actually writing the album. Because we keep doing shows and stuff, and doing all these different things. We spent the last few months, important as it is, for Jimmy to learn all the old material that we perform. And after that point, now we're ready doing some gigs with him. And now we're time to embrace the new and start doing that.
Hey, right on. And I just wanted to go through a bit of the history of the band. Please correct me on anything that I don't say correctly. Was the band founded in back in the 80s?
Yeah.
85 was it?
Attaxe formed in 1985. It was formed by me and Scott Stage, who passed away this past year. Nick actually knew him really well, and he was at the funeral also. In the 80s, it was a time of, I was going from one band to another at the time, and I met Scott, and he's just a sensational guitar player. He came up from, Zanesville area, sort of central southern Ohio, new to the area. No one knew him or anything, and just looking for a band, and we just right away clicked and started making this amazing music. And then we got Ray, and who's also the original member, and we spent basically the 80s just gigging and doing shows and demoing and having record labels interested at us, and it was that wild, crazy early 80s, mid 80s, that golden era of Cleveland metal kind of stuff. We were all in that mix, and then as time went on, we moved on to different projects over the years, and I became an A&R rep for a record label while I was performing all these different bands, and put together a festival here in Cleveland for a number of years. It was called the Pure Steel Metal Festival. And at some point, I was asked, would I reform Attaxe to perform at the festival? And that was like 2016.
2016.
And I got the band back together. And the feeling was such, like the emotion and the audience response, and it went from to being like, hey, why don't we just keep doing this? This was really, really great, really fun. And so then at that point, that's when we got Drew came on, and we recorded our newest album. So we had the first album was out, 20 Years to Hardware was really a compilation of all the different demos that we'd done over the years, because we kept being asked by different record labels and never getting exactly signed. So we'd put out this demos and recordings. And after a while, when I was A&R for Pure Steel, they decided, why don't we just do a big compilation of the best tracks? And that's 20 Years to Hardware that came out in 2020. And then when we put this new band together, we recorded a brand new album, Braving the Tempest, and that's on a different record label. That's on Golden Court Records. And so that's our news. We've been it's just living the life at the moment. It's just now the new guitarist and Jimmy, and so that that's a quick synopsis, quick breakdown of the history of the band. So
I used to follow these guys back in the late 80s.
Isn't that crazy?
We would play on the same stages with my other band called Infrared back then. And Ray got hold of me and asked me out of the blue if I'd be interested in auditioning for Attaxe. I'm like, the Attaxe that was around in the late 80s?
That Attaxe?
And I'm like, is Juan still singing?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. I said, I'm definitely interested. So I went for an audition. And after the audition, I asked them, how many other guys do you have? And he said, none. You were it.
You're it.
So I was in the band.
I was instantly. I remember him, from back in the day, also, and I knew I really liked his style, and he'd done a lot of Rush tribute stuff, and I'm favorite band is Rush, so right away I knew his drumming style would be just something I'd be really, really into. So it was just worked out really well. So.
Yeah.
Hey, right on. And, when I listened to the Braving the Tempest on the way over here, just wanted to get familiar with some of your guys' material. It definitely, I think, could be said of a lot of bands, but I heard like there's like some Judas Priest influence. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Judas Priest, and we were compared a lot of times in those early days to like Queensryche and that kind of era, kind of style of music. Mostly because of my singing a lot, sure. But also that direction of just, being, that speed metal, power. There wasn't even the term power metal at the time, really. So it was, it was just that sort of melodic metal feel that, we were going for. And so... And the types of lyrics, too, because sometimes we have lyrics about drugs, car, and girls, and then other times we have lyrics about, space travel or, I love writing stories about epic themes and stuff like that. So it just had that, embraced that era, that idea. So I think it worked out really well.
So when you're... as you said, you guys are working on some new material now. How do the songs typically come together? Do you have like a book of lyrics that you can pull from, or will you typically hear some music the guitarist has written and then go from there? How does it sort of pan out?
It definitely starts
with the guitar.
With the guitar, it starts with the that seed, that first riff, or Gene might come up with I have a whole song, I have all the parts, arrangements, that sort of thing, and after you have that an initial nucleus, right? That beginning of that cell. Then we all get together, and they start to jam it. The band does, work out the parts, and I'll kind of be there as, I guess you would call it, the arranger, arranger, producer, composer, conductor, and I'll say, oh, I like that part. You know what? What if you do this? What if you do that? What if you change the drum rhythm? Or what if you add these accents here? This arrangement needs to change a little this way. And then once we have that, idea enough that we have sort of like a rough shell recording of it, and then I'll take it home and I'll start to seriously look at what do I want to sing melody-wise, lyrics. I typically start with lyrics. What do I want to write about? What do I want to sing about? Would it be interesting? And, something I can really, use my voice on, that sort of thing. And at that point, then it becomes, okay, I've decided this is verse, lyric, bridge, chorus, and then that arrangement changes again. So I go, I need you to play that verse part 4 times, this chorus twice, then this bridge here, that kind of, the solos here, that kind of arrangement sort of thing. And then I'll come in with vocals and we'll work it out a little bit more and see how I like it, how I feel about how I'm singing, and everybody gets their input, their part, you know what I mean? So it's like, once you feel something, you go, oh man, I want to do this on bass. So Ray'd be always like, oh man, I got this crazy idea, I got it, and then you come back the next day and be like, oh, I got this, how about this? Oh yeah, that's great, And then, the same with Drew's drums. It's just everybody gets that input and that feel for it, and it becomes that. But it always starts
With Jimmy.
with the guitar player. Because really,
No pressure.
No pressure, man. None.
Well, the pressure might start gearing a little more towards Juan because the stuff I've written was stuff where there was already a foundation laid.
Right.
And the stuff coming up is where I'm kind of going to be laying a foundation musically
Right.
for you. And the challenge will be for him is that I have a tendency, like for verses, when I write, I either use a lot of notes or not a lot of notes. And then the chorus, I'll smooth out, and it could be louder if everybody wants it. But the challenge will be for Juan, for this, which I don't know if you ever played a guitar that has a lot of low notes and high notes going at the same time. So I'm hoping that don't interfere with your vocals coming up with the stuff I started already. You ain't heard it yet.
I'm curious. I'm interested. It's always great to work with new people, and and what direction the music takes. Somebody just asked me that recently. How do you go with that whatever is their strength of that musician, right? Each member of the band. I'm in a bunch of bands, and so then you go with the strength of each individual, and you don't try to take them and go, you know what, you play this style, you know what, I want you to play this style. You have to play this. I don't want you to play the way you're comfortable playing. That's just you. That might work for the moment. That might work for maybe a song, but eventually that person will be unhappy. You know what I mean? You have to just, find their strengths and find people that are really disciplined and dedicated and just, and open to new ideas. And like myself, I'm open to, I work with all kinds of bands. So.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear you talk about your process and the verbiage you're using, or verbiage, like the terms you're using. Like I could tell you know a little more than like the average cat. Well, some people to even say like verse, chorus, bridge. That's sort of like not how they would think about it. They're just
right.
like, oh, put that part there, and whatever works. Different strokes for different folks. But yeah, that's I guess makes sense. You guys are big fans of Rush. You're, and you mentioned like getting comparisons to like Queensryche. You have a bit of a progressive flair to it. And then going off what you said as well, Jimmy, like, were you saying that there's going to be some more low notes? When I listen to the material, if I had to guess, I would say, oh, most of these songs are probably played in like E standard or maybe E flat or
Yes.
some,
Absolutely, yes.
But I guess what I was inferring off what you said is that maybe you have like a 7-string guitar that you're doing on some of the new material, or
Yeah, and
Okay.
some of the stuff you've heard already and played here today, I use a 7-string for, and I use it a half step down. Then I drop the low B flat to an A flat because some of them songs are in regular standard A. And so some of the stuff I've been playing live is actually an octave lower almost than what you're hearing on there.
Okay.
But I still have the high notes going. I do a lot of quick staccato pinch harmonics on it, while I'm playing. So that helps it out, not be so low. You could hear this other melody going.
Well, the idea is, sure, it's Attaxe. Sure, it's a band that started 40 years ago. And we do want to have something of the feel of Attaxe. But at the same time, it's 2026. And to move the music in a modern direction is, like we've done a lot on Braving the Tempest already compared to the first album, and then continue to move it in a direction that's the future is something that we're interested in and we're looking to do. We're not afraid to be to evolve, because you don't want to be stagnant. You want to be, a lot of the bands that we listen to are over the years. You can name any of the bands that you really love. If you listen to them from the first album to the next album, they've evolved musically. They've kept their feel. They kept the thing where you instantly know, hey, that's Rush, or that's Judas Priest, or that's Iron Maiden, or Slayer. You instantly know that's that band, but you definitely hear the progression, from Rain and Blood to Paint the Road Red, So, I mean, that's, the progression of things.
I want the listener to enjoy it and not hear the same song 40 times. We want every song to sound a little bit different, to be unique.
It's about the listener too, right? It's just not about it's we don't want to just play. Hey, this is what we want to listen to, and we're all in our own heads. You know what I mean? Hey, this is what you're going to give you. We want that reaction. We want that people that this has always been this audience band, this people band. Going back in the day, and so we want to hold on to that sort of that feel that people have for us. So,
Hey, very cool. I'd sort of like to focus on like how we started. What you guys currently have, but just worth discussing. I feel like some of the old times as well. Like when you guys were doing these gigs like back in the day. Who were some of the bands that you guys typically played with? I recently had Jeff Hatrix on, who was in Purgatory for a while, and then
yeah, we definitely did shows at Purgatory, absolutely.
Yeah, and, how about like Destructor?
Destructors, we might have been on the same bill, but we typically wouldn't do like a regular show with, we were melodic and they were really heavy.
Okay.
Even though we all knew each other, we were all part of the same scene. You know what I mean? So we were, bands, like I said, that, definitely like we did band shows with like Purgatory and Shock Paris and, the different all the different bands that were around at the time. We did shows with bands I ended up singing with. With the times were Torment and which became Wretch, Ritual, and Wretch was also another band that we did shows with, and basically you take that Heavy Artillery album, the Bill Peters Heavy Artillery album, and all those bands on at one time or another we did shows with them.
We did shows with them.
Basically. So we did shows with a show with Destructor, but we they were on one side of the bill, another trying to think of all the other bands that are on all these different shows. Like I mean, it's crazy. We were there at that time with all those amazing bands all going at the same time. So that it's just something. Now there's amazing, all these great bands. The scene has continued to progress and, stuff like that. There's been down times and up times like anything, you know what I mean? Especially during, the 90s grunge era, metal was, like every place. But we definitely have a scene and definitely have fans of Cleveland metal that, still in different parts of the world, in Europe and stuff like that, who love the bands and still listen to bands from here and, appreciate the Cleveland metal scene, the sound of Cleveland metal. And some of these bands are still, like, perfect example is Destructor and Jeff, who was, in Mushroom Head and stuff like that. And Jeffrey Nothing, and, of course, his band Hatrix and all that. So
That was a while ago right there.
yeah, so...
And then you mentioned that you guys had gone over to Germany. How did that come about, and what was the name of the festival that you did there?
It was the Full Metal Ostessen Festival in Niederhausen, Germany. I performed there a lot. I go to Europe every year for different festivals, and that's one of the festivals I go to basically almost every year. So, and Attaxe was invited this last time, and we went there, and it's just great. There's just something about the fans there in Germany are so, knowledgeable and just into it. They have, like, even though we're an American band and play in different cities in America, you're still mostly playing for bands, people that have never seen the band. Every time you go to a different show, the majority of the audience has never seen you. You go to a festival like that in Europe, and, like, everybody knows the music. They have your albums. They, they have your albums, know their songs. You know what I mean?
It's like going back to the 80s.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah,
I'm out there playing, and I see them singing along with Juan. It's like, I've never been here. This is cool.
Yeah, and you don't see that in America, which is the
No, you
weirdest,
don't.
which is the weirdest thing, the weird craziest thing. Yeah, so they do their research. They they literally listen to the albums on the way. Oh yeah, I love that song, that one, and that kind of thing. So, I mean, fans everywhere. I mean, I enjoy playing a lot of places, Central America, and especially Europe and stuff. I'm in Bulgaria later this year for a different band, and so. I really enjoy going to see the people and going to these different festivals, and here in America too. There's a lot of people to. It's a never ending, this ride and adventure that you love to perform. You love to, and that's the whole joy. You have the joy of making this music and making it, and you see the people and you see that reaction and you feel their energy and you try to give to them what they give back. You reciprocate, right? And so that's part of what it's about. So
There's no feeling like having someone appreciate what you've created.
yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of a good stereotype. I've remember hearing that since I was like a teenager, just that people in Europe and abroad tend to, not just for metal, but definitely for metal, like they just tend to appreciate the music more. That maybe, there's just so many prolific bands have like come from the States that maybe in some way we're spoiled or something, or we take it for granted. But
I think we do. I think that is the way I always think of it, the only way I can explain it is that basically you can leave your house at any given time and see the bands. if you wanted to see Attaxe, go on. Let's see when's their next gig, and go see them. In Europe, they're into the music, and when Attaxe come, this may be the only singular time, possibly in their life, to see that band. And that's that mentality of like, where that difference is. And I don't know if it's the same in Europe the same way. Maybe the European bands, I'll go see Hammerfall next week. I don't have to go see him this week. You know what I mean? And when they come, oh my God, Hammerfall's Pagan's Mind just showed up. Oh my God. You know what I mean? You're like, these Norwegian bands or Swedish bands come and you're like, oh my God, Stradivarius is here. I have to go see him. You know what I mean? I think it's that sort of exchange of culture is part of it maybe, but it seems to be definitely leaning heavily toward Europe than toward us, where, And the other thing too, I think, like, it's the cultural difference is too, a lot of it. There's some metal clubs here in the sense that people wore, the vests and stuff like that. But in Europe, it is very peripheral. It's like, everywhere you go, everybody's part of something and they're all wearing their vests and it's all part of this culture.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember that even in the 90s when I was in Ritual and we had an album out, our single went to #1 on the chart. Not like some metal chart, like a chart. A metal song. And it was like, well, that would, almost never happen here. It's just something you wouldn't even think of happening unless you were unless you were Poison or something. You know what I mean? Like not a metal song, but that's the difference in that culture, that there could be my band and ABBA, you know what I mean, on the same chart, which is really, really crazy. That's part of it too, I think, is that the culture is the music is more ingrained. Well, here we listen to this huge, more variety, I think, of some music. I mean, sure, there's electronic music. It's very popular. I mean, in Europe and stuff like that, all these different genres. Not that they're saying it's all metal, but I'm saying here is everything, everything from rap and hip hop and country and, stuff that, is really, really huge here and takes up a major portion of it. There's so many different things to listen to here and that we listen to more. You know what I mean? So that's that big divergence of, where Europe has this more
Appreciation.
more of a,
That's what I think.
Yeah, I that's like I like going off what you said near the end there. I didn't really think about that ever till this moment. Like, I think hip hop is pretty popular. Like, if those artists there's a demand where they can go tour abroad. But I think country music is, I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm sure there's some people that do, but that's, if I had to guess, that's kind of something where it's really just
Here.
a thing here, like to them, I don't know. It's probably they're just
it's definitely
What is this, like-
majority here.
Yeah.
But it takes up a lot of
the pie.
a lot of the pie here.
Yeah.
And so the hip hop and rap in that
listen to country.
right.
It's a rock band with the country singer.
And well, the thing, right, if you go, you walk up to basically anybody you walked up to, go, oh, yeah, I listen to metal, yeah. And then, when you go out to the car, you drive out and you're listening to some pop country on the way out to and they're, you know what I'm saying? With it's America. We have a lot of different tastes and just all this very, culture. And so we're trying to evolve our kids in the same way, our generations. And you see all these great new bands, and you really, especially when I see these young new bands, and I'm just like, wow, you really, it's great to hear and see that, a lot of my kids are like, I'm listening to rap, or I'm listening to this,
Yeah.
but they'll say, oh yeah, cool metal song too, that goes, they're listening to all this mixed bag of all these different sort of stuff where we didn't. I just listened to. It was definitely Rush and
Yeah,
Rush and
Maiden.
metal,
Yeah.
progressive rock and metal, man. That was I didn't so,
Yeah. I mean, like, I had a good conversation with another guy that came on for Joe Reed, and he does a lot of like grindcore music, but he's very like across the board with his musical tastes, and just to sum it up, like, it was basically like the entry point is different for a lot of how people discover music nowadays.
true, yeah.
Whereas, like, they had that Stranger Things show, and then there was Master Puppet song, and then a lot of kids heard it, and that was the first time they ever heard Metallica, like, from a TV show, and then maybe from there they go on to listen to Slayer, or Iron Maiden, or Attaxe, or whatever it is.
right.
But, like, I think it doesn't diminish it. That's just the time that they're living in, but I think there's something to be said for the fact that back in the day, as they would say, it might have felt a little more special to you, like, finding these bands, because it wasn't just so
accessible.
Yeah.
Now they're
Yeah.
streaming everything. Literally, it was just straight radio or word of mouth, or you picked up a magazine, or somebody printed out a leaflet and go, oh, check out this band, or it was definitely more word of mouth. How else was things done? There wasn't internet, there wasn't even cell phones. Back, I mean, that's crazy to think about right now. Now everything's just at a touch of a button. You can listen to any band you want, basically. So.
As young musicians, we had to listen to the music and listen to it and listen to it to try to play it. There wasn't YouTube. We couldn't go and see videos and watch the
Watch some
artists.
guy play it.
You're
Like,
right,
oh,
right.
wow, is that how it's played? Okay.
I'm sitting there with binoculars at every Rush concert watching Neil, every move he made, so I could learn as much during that 2 or 3 hours, because there was nothing after that. I couldn't go to YouTube and research it again. So
Yeah.
now you can get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, people used to have their record. I remember growing up that people had record labels. So guitar players and stuff like that had record players so they could slow down, so they could hear the little notes. Oh, okay, that's what's in there. Okay, and then you speed it up, that sort of thing. You so much diligence. I always said, Jimmy, like guitar players are weird. They're always the strangest guys, because they spend, in order to be an immense talent in guitar, you spend a lot of time in a room
Alone.
in a room alone, just, oh my God, over and over and over to get these things. Times have changed so quickly that it's just like, you see now people on YouTube, kids that are like kids, and playing Starfowski and just, playing Yngwie, and just like, are you kidding me? Really? I think it's great. I think it's, you try to speed yourself up. You go, man, I gotta try to get on that wheel there, man. They're really moving, and so times are moving much, much faster, which is great. It's good and bad for the music industry, for musicians, in the sense that, the sale of CDs and tapes and vinyls and stuff like that are now diminished to the point where that's not even your income. Your income basically is streaming, and that's that whole genre of it, of just making money, of just touring is still something that bands do to pay mortgage, to pay the rent, stuff like that. Hey, we've got to go on tour. I'm only making so much, Before you're making, if a record sold for $10, you're like at least getting $1 or $2 out of that. You know what I mean? Where it's just streaming something, then you're talking 10 cents every stream. To a quarter from every. So it's way different. You're moving more product in the sense than now before, where there's hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of records or stuff like that. Now you're talking hundreds of thousands of downloads or stuff like that. But
then people only want one song.
Right.
They don't buy the whole album anymore.
Right,
they
right.
buy one
One
song
song.
that they
one
like.
song. Yeah, one song. So it's something that everybody, and you see the business side evolving for it. Everybody making that change for what for what is current. You have to stay with the times. You have to you have to adjust toward that idea of So we do the same thing. We do obviously our album are streaming and doing all that, but we still CDs, vinyl, because when people go to shows, some people like to collect, some people like to play like the sound of the vinyl or the sound of the CD, that nostalgia, right? But a lot of it is people want that physical. Please sign this. This is a memory of, what I mean? And that's the way it is a lot in Europe, too. So, yeah.
So I got this CD in front of me, and there's a couple things I just want to say about, like, the artwork is really cool on this Braving the Tempest. I think I can hold it up.
Yeah,
wait, I have to figure out how to
That's
do
a
that.
German artist, Timo Wurtz.
There it is. The light is sort of blocking it.
Yeah. That's
But-
Timo. He's phenomenal.
So Timo, and then how did you, what was his last name again?
Wurtz?
Timo. Is he someone that's local, or how did you hook up with
No,
him?
he's in Germany.
Okay.
Basically, that was someone that was presented to me by my record label as we were doing different bands do different artwork at the time. A lot of it is AI now.
Boo.
And yeah, I'm not really,
I'm switching it back to my camera for a second.
Yeah.
We don't like it.
I get it, and now you see a lot of bands, even cool bands, doing AI videos. I get it. I'm not against the movement toward, AI is changing our lives and will continue to evolve and take up more of our lives, obviously. And it's a tool, right? But the same idea that we have about real musicianship, about real musicians playing on an album. Not now you hear AI versions of bands. Hey, just any people. Is this a real band? Oh, I guess it's not. It's an AI band. I do like to use actual artists on my album covers for the different bands I work with, as much as possible.
It's that physical thing again.
It is. It's something about the look of it that is, that's, I don't know, what's the term I could use? It's so, it's, I guess, real. It's a real person really making his impression, his technique. Not that I'm dissing someone's ability to create things with digital media. Not, my girlfriend works in the BIM software, the VCR, all that 3D modeling and stuff like that, architectural sort of stuff. So I appreciate the technique and the ability and the discipline it takes to create something, completely digitally. But, obviously there's a different feel between Snow White, and, and something, modern. There's that feel that somebody actually drew that and painted that and painstakingly did something, right? The hard way, I guess. So I appreciate it, and I try to use that as much as possible in my album covers, as much as I can. Unless there's something that's just, some sort of photo, like the Attaxe, the first Attaxe album is, the photo of the guys in Sing Sing all lined up with their ball and chain lined up, ready to go out on back to their cells. It just fit the style and the feel of the band at the time, and it's just like we went with something that was like that cool, and people still went how many of those people are you on the album? Is that the band actually lined up there? Nothing. No, it's just. But you know what I'm saying. It's just there's something about it, and the record labels send me a lot of different people and right away I was just drawn to Timo's work, and I was just like, wow, that was. So he's done a couple albums for me. He's done a Wretch album. And he's done here the Attaxe album, and he's definitely very, very, very talented.
Yes, sir. And I'm looking at the back of this CD, and still sort of getting used to like trying to put that up there for people to see it. But you can purchase one maybe, or just Google search the image. But you guys are on top of this
Artillery gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's at the Burton Fairgrounds.
Yeah, it's artillery. Yeah, it's a gun. It's a
tank. Really?
well, it's a tank, but it's an anti-aircraft gun, actually tank. One of those mobile anti-aircraft.
I played on that thing when I was a kid, and it's still there.
Yeah, so we said, hey, that's a good. That fit the band.
That's rad. Because honestly, my first guess would be, I don't know why I was just thinking this was like taken overseas, but the fact that it's like here, like near Cleveland, like in Ohio, I like that too. I think that's really, really cool. And then like you're saying, like you used to play on it when you were younger.
I think that what gives it that feel like it's someplace else is the background is actually not the background.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I see that now.
Okay,
I
the
can
back
tell a little
right
bit
before
better.
it's like in front of like a barn or something,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we put it in front of a castle, and then
Little
so it gives-
Photoshop magic.
Yeah, you little. See, you do. I'm not saying that I'm against digital artistry, little digital maneuvering.
Well, yeah. To each their own, man. I think there's a difference in like using a photo than like the AI generated art, like the whole. Yeah, let's not go on a tangent on that. We'll just keep it. But yeah, no, I
There's some cool stuff. I'm
Yeah.
not completely against it or dissing it. That sort of stuff. If I'm not against someone, I'm not against doing it myself, but it wouldn't be the sole media that I would use. If Attaxe did another video and decided, hey, let's do something completely AI for one song, fine. But then if I would do more one video and the other one would be a performance video of us live doing something, or a mixture of the two. In other words, I wouldn't use that as the
sole product.
yeah, the
For
sole
everything.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's I appreciate it because of the simplicity in the I guess it's the speed is what's tempting.
Done.
Yeah.
The sense that for me to do a video, for us to do a video, for instance, we get together, hire the company, rent out the space, the whole, shabam, several cameras, angles. A typical video takes 8 hours of like intensive shooting. You probably do the song 16 times. I mean, that's that's not a, and that's even doing individual shots and then moves and angles and little things like that. And when if you do a complete AI video, a guy can spend a weekend, and you never moved your. We never left our house. Hey, how's it look? Oh, that look great. There's just you get
Send
that.
me a picture.
Yeah, that looks great. I like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do this. Is it okay? Is it much different though from using actual? I've done videos that used film, the choreographed creation of video using different scenes from different things and splicing them all together and creating a storyline. Rich has done that, or Other bands I've been with have done that. We did that with Chernobyl. We had the documentary films. We took like a dozen different documentary films and spliced parts together to fit the music with lyrics. And I mean, AR videos ain't much different than what I guess you used to call lyric videos, right? Now you have lyrics and you have all this imagery going on, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it could be some similarities there.
Yeah, some similarity, but
I've always liked watching the band. I've always liked watching the
right,
performers.
and that's my point. You have to. It's okay for one of the songs, but you have to have at least one video of the actual people performing the song. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, that is, you know.
I wanted to I apologize if this is like a sore how would you say, like a sore subject, but yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge, you know, I believe your previous guitarist had passed away. I'm looking at his picture on the back of here. Chris Westfall.
No, not Chris.
no.
No, he's still.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
Chris
it's Scott
Westfall.
Stage. It's the original guy from this
Scott
one.
Stage. Oh, so Chris Westfall, he just went on to other project, I guess.
Yes.
Other things.
He's with me and Wretch.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So
But,
the
okay.
original, he's the guy on Braving
Sorry,
the
Chris.
Tempest. It's the guy on the first album you're thinking of. That's Scott Stage.
Scott Stage.
Yeah,
He did pass away.
He did pass away. Yes.
Oh, okay. When did that happen?
He passed away just this past year.
Okay.
A couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this
like I
past year.
said, sorry to
No,
bring
you're
it.
fine.
But
You're
just, you know, since we're here talking about the history of the band and everything, I
Yes.
just felt like it's like worth, you know, just saying his name, you know, and just, you know, like, so was he like a founding member with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, me and him formed the band. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had that nexus of just, you know, getting together and, you know, forming these songs, and just, you know, his style was very unique. He came from like Southern rock at the time, right? He was playing in a lot of Southern rock bands. And so his style was just, you know, something that was very unique to the Cleveland scene, especially, you know. So there was nothing like that. So we had that sort of a little of that guitar feel. At the same time, we were, you know, trying to be in that Queensryche, Judas Priest sort of thing. And so Attaxe was, imagine, the musical direction was like Queensryche, Judas Priest. The lead guitar parts, that sort of stuff, was like Molly Hatchet. And then the look of the band, the whole thing of the band, was kind of biker Motley Crue kind of look thing going on. So we had this weird sort of mix that made us stood apart from other bands. So that was
I dig it, man.
yeah.
So, so Jimmy, you've been working with the band for a while now, and then I believe you have some other projects that you're doing as well. What's on your plate currently, and then, you know, what's like maybe some past projects you've been a part of?
Well, my first real project that was anything significant was I did like about 6 months with a band, Cleveland band called Terror.
Oh,
when I was
cool,
really
yeah.
young.
It's like Brian Sekula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was singing.
I met him before. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
yeah, and that was pretty cool. But the bass player left, and he got me in the band, so we tried to start something else that didn't work out. But so yeah, and then Purgatory was looking for a guitar player, and I almost got in with them, but Attaxe promised me some new material coming up on a new album, which ain't recorded yet. But and so that, and then plus, I was already friends with Ray, and that's how I met Juan and Drew. And so, that seemed like the best choice, and I'm happy with that. And so, yeah, and I have another band that's more of a gent emo, electronic metal thing called Drag, and that's, pretty good. It's totally different than this. And, I love that too. So both bands are just like a dream for me, playing with just such great musicians.
Very cool, man.
And the newer stuff, we talked about the guitar. I was using the 7-string real low and stuff, and I use that to play the songs, the older songs. But the new stuff is with a 6-string, but I have it tuned a whole step down and then drop D from there, but it's actually in C.
So like drop C.
Yeah, drop C. And it's a good bridge between the very new modern stuff and the old Attaxe stuff. And so it's not going to be super low, but it's not going to be retro either, if that makes any sense. So it's going to be
How do you feel about all these different tunings, Ray? Is this okay with you? He's like over there. He's about to like flip the chair over.
Oh no, I got to get a
I'm
new
cool
bass.
with it.
I got to get a new bass guitar now.
Yeah, guess what? But that's happening. You're getting a new one.
Are you able to do that all on like a 5-string bass, or do you have different guitars you
The
use?
older music, 4-string bitch bass, and the newer one, 4-string but tuned down.
Okay,
Different tunings, but just different guitars.
Yeah, so
for sure.
Yeah.
and that's already set up, ready to go.
Excellent. No, that's cool that you guys are able to work like that. I think sometimes that's something that I was just kind of like joking around, but like I think sometimes that those are type of things that can cause like some infighting. It's like, well, no, why can't it just all be this way? Or no, don't change anything around. But you guys are willing to
Yeah, you have to be open. You have to be open to new
Yeah,
ideas.
you gotta be open-minded, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
good
With
thing
the
is
times.
when I joined the band, Juan told me, play like you. Don't worry about the other stuff, about how other people play. We got you into this band, play you.
Yes, to play like yourself.
And he's told Jimmy the same thing, so we're allowed to be us.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
So, where do you guys all hail from? Like, do you live fairly close to each other? We're able to meet up and rehearse and such.
Well, we're I guess you'd call it here. It's, you
Yeah.
know, I live in Newberry, so it's Geauga County,
He's 10 minutes from me.
and he lives in Middlefield. Those
West
guys.
Side, Cleveland.
Yeah, West Side. Me and
Cleveland.
Ray are
Let's go.
pretty close.
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there.
Well, I'm a Cleveland guy. I mean, obviously, I grew up in Cleveland, lived in North Royalton for a long time, Cleveland, then moved out to North Royalton, and as I became older and more settled, and decided, yeah, let's move farther out, and moved way out to the to the country where there's more Amish people than people, you know, other peoples, and it's just, I love it. It's just, you know, I'm completely, practically off the grid out here where I'm at. Just, all I got is an electric line. They don't even have a gas line or a sewer line or, you know, water line even. You know, I mean, it's just completely.
Or Cleveland Public Power that
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
out all the
Yeah,
time.
no, I'm completely,
All the time.
I'm completely away from all that. So, I enjoyed it. I'm happy we're being out here. But I'm still close enough to go back and forth. Like I said, I'm in a lot of bands, and we rehearse in all kinds of different cities. So, in Ohio, so I travel back and forth.
So when you guys rehearse, like, do they come out to you in Newberry?
Well, no, they came to his house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
then
don't
you
have
see
to-
the drummer. You got.
I don't have to
Yeah.
move my drums.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Yeah,
I like
that's
it.
the way. You know, so.
I got my amps there. They stay there.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
works well for me.
Everything's there. Yeah.
Everything's
We
there.
got some good equipment there.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice that you have all the information here on this. So, this the Braving the Tempest was tracked at in Warren, Ohio.
Yes. That's Nick.
That's Nick
Gyanakas
from
Wretch.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean the production is really good on this. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not doesn't like that it's overproduced, but it sounds. I liked it.
Well,
listening to it.
what we do is the different bands that I'm in have their own studio. Sunless Sky has their own studio. Wretch has their own studio, and for instance, and so we do all the recording in house, and once we get the performances that we're and the recording that we want, and either, like I said, Nick is the producer, the engineer for that, or if I was doing something at the Sunless Sky studio, it'd be Yule Martin, the drummer for Sunless Sky, in the studio. Whoever does the engineering work, and after we do all the songs and arrangement and record all that, then the albums go to Europe. The album you hear there was mixed in Austria by my good friend Robert Romagna, who I also am associated with originally through Pure Steel, and he mixes and masters all my albums, and so he basically takes the rough diamond and creates, this amazing sounding albums, and we work really well together, even though we're doing it completely overseas sort of conversations.
He's a great guy. He's friendly.
Yeah. He's a great, just very knowledgeable, very easy to work with.
He's a good guy,
Yeah.
man.
And just be able to say, we need this, we need that, and, I want to change everything. And it's completely mixes the album in that sense, rather than being in the room with the same person that's mixing. He has his own studio, his own ear, and has already at this point knows my voice and knows what I want to do. I bet you want this mix and that to my voice and my blends for my different harmonies and stuff like that. I started with him as in the sense of this idea of the band recording, that member being the engineer, the recording engineer, the Nick or Yule, and then I'm kind of the producer, right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then directing the different members or what's happening, and then him mixing and mastering it. That started back when I was the A&R rep for Pure Steel. At the time, Pure Steel isn't around anymore. But at the time, when I first initially worked with them, they were underground label that basically released people's demos and old demos of different bands. I go, this is really great, but you really need to think about stepping this up and making bands record the music new and having better quality. And when it got to that point, that like not just sending me your demos, whatever they sound like, A-track or whatever, or something that was mixed poorly, or who knows how on what equipment, making them re-record songs or do new music and recording it. At that point, I realized that they needed to be a quality control person. There needed to be somebody with an ear beyond just the record label guys that weren't musicians, right? And the band that has their own self-absorbed idea of what they want the music to sound with. You needed somebody that was a neutral party, that was an established person and had a great ear for what, if they send in music to listen to, no, this needs to be recorded, this needs to be done different, this isn't good enough, or this is great, or whatever, and help in the mixing process. And that's when, between me and the record label, we came upon our man in the Swiss Alps, the Austrian Alps up there, Robert. And he became that person. And over the years, we have just fine-tuned this system where it's just like, I'm really very, very proud of the sound of my records. I don't want them to be a local recording or the sound of the local. I wanted to be able to compare my albums to a national act. If you put in a Judas Priest album, you put in one of my albums, they have to be comparable to me. That is that is the least I can do for the fans and for the people that spend their money to have a quality recording, something that you would be like, wow, the production of this is really, really great. That's just the level I want, and that's what I think people would assume. You know, right? It depend if it was Jeff or if it was anybody, right? They'd be like, you know, they know that, oh, if you're going to buy a Jeff Hendricks album, if you were just talking about Jeff, you know that's going to be top level production. You know that's going to be a real album, right? So the same idea is still involved, you know. So
Yes, yeah. There's a benchmark, and
yeah, it's good to exactly.
Once you have established that, you don't want to step down from that.
Yeah,
You know, like and like you said, the fans are deserving of your best. You know.
right, exactly.
So, in just winding down here in the interview, you know, I know you guys had said you are already in the works of writing new material. That I assume will go over to the Alps with Robert Romagna. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Romagna, yeah.
Romagna. Yeah. I'd love to have you guys come back in the future. You know, if you're
With the new album, absolutely.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You
We'd love to. Love to.
time it around that. Yeah, I'm just really. It was really nice speaking with you guys. You know, I'm. It's very inspiring, you know, to see all the fire that you have in it and the passion for it, and going 40 years strong with this band, you know, as
Yeah.
well as, you know, the other projects you guys are involved with. So yeah, I just want to kick it back to you and let you guys sort of close the interview out. Just anything you want to let people know, if there's ways, if there's things that they could purchase online if they wanted to, like CDs or T-shirts or just anything you might want to say in just wrapping up for today.
Jimmy, Ray, Drew.
No pressure.
Well, I will say that first off, you can find us on all the YouTube and all the streaming services. Obviously, look us up on Facebook and look for different shows and stuff like that. If you come to the shows, we have, you know, T-shirts and stickers and patches
stickers,
and
yeah.
mugs, you know.
Mugs.
Beer koozies.
Yeah, you know. So
What's that link to that last performance we did at the Maple Grove?
Dog Walk, yeah. You can. There's even links to different shows or
Sure.
that you can look and watch and just check out the band and come see us live and come, you know, hang out with us.
Come up and say, hey, what's up?
We're real people. We're just really we're like the same. I go to different shows and be right next to everybody and go right up to the shows and love to see that. We're just we're fans and we're fans of the music and of the scene and the people, and you'll be seeing us around very soon. So
Excellent, guys. So yeah, just left to right again. Hey, thank you, Juan,
thank you.
Drew,
Thank you.
Ray, and Jimmy,
Thank you.
the fellas from Attaxe. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you so much. Metal!
Got it, metal.
Yeah, man, he's got the pipes. Go it strong. Hey, so gonna close it out for this episode here, and y'all keep it heavy out there. Tune in for the next one.